Welcome to the Franchise Minute. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. Today we have a special guest with us, Terp Ricketts with Blingle, part of the Horsepower Brands portfolio. Today's topic is Meet the Team Day. Terp, thank you for joining us and helping explain what Meet the Team Day or Discovery Day is to our audience.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm excited to be on and hopefully have at least a few sentences that add value to the group here.
I think you might have one or two. Yeah.
Probably.
All right. Well, Terp, before we get going, share a little bit about yourself and about Blingle to the audience so they know what it does.
Yeah, so my background briefly is in franchise finance. I worked in then franchising for a master franchisee prior to being in franchise finance, and then met Josh and Zach and was the first employee with Horsepower, and have been in development running various different brands and in a VP position as well, just run overarching all the brands. The thing with Blingle that I love is it is something where it's very fragmented from a space perspective, and it's not something where there's incredibly bloody water as far as just tons of competition. There's good competition everywhere, but it's a lot of onesie twosies. And when we look at it, Blingle is one of the very few, if not the only, premier lighting company in the country where we're doing holiday lighting, event lighting, landscape lighting, and permanent lighting, both residential and commercial. It's just an awesome, exciting, fun business that makes people smile, and I love it.
And it's primarily outdoor lighting. Is that correct?
Yes, 100%. Yep.
Okay, very good. All right, audience, this is the format. We're going to watch a 60-second video now on today's topic of Meet the Team or Discovery Day. And then after that, we're going to have 15 minutes of live Q&A with Terp, and roll them. Welcome to the Franchise Minute. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist, and today's topic is Meet the Team Day. This is the last step in the franchise discovery process. It also goes by three other names: Decision Day, Confirmation Day, or Discovery Day. They're all the same thing. It's the final step in the franchise granting process. After this event, the franchise executive team will make a decision as to whether or not to award territory to a franchise candidate. Within a day or two, the franchise candidate will be notified. If an award is granted, then it's up to the franchise candidate to either accept it or reject it. And then the franchise discovery process is complete. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. Thanks for watching, and keep watching to learn more about franchises. Okay, well, what's hilarious to me is I can come up with four names for Meet the Team, Discovery Day, whatever, and Horsepower has a totally different name, different than anyone else in the entire franchise industry, Terp. So yes. Let's start off with, what does Horsepower Brands call their Meet the Team, Discovery Day, whatever you call it?
Yeah, so we call it the Horsepower Summit because it is all of the different brands coming together, candidates of the brands and supporting verticals, as well as outside vendors that support our franchise owners throughout the country as well. You'll hear me even say Discovery Day sometimes, or Meet the Team. Like, they all mean the same thing. So not to confuse anything there, but it truly is a summit. It's a very large, it's just so cool having all the brands together, and then obviously people break out into specific groups and whatnot, but it's a very large event, very fun, and that's why we call it a summit.
Right. It makes sense, and y'all do it in a very unique way. I've never heard of that being done by others. It's usually a single brand. You bring in, sometimes it's just one person who's looking, it can be a group of people coming and looking at a variety of territories, but you bring in all potential franchisees for all your brands. And you have how many now? 9 current?
8.
So 8, about to be 9.
About to be, yes. Yeah. So it's going. There's plenty of options out there. It's like kid in the candy store as an entrepreneur. I think sometimes you have to reel it back in and stay focused. But it's an awesome event, and it's just seeing everything through it, the investment that's been made into Horsepower, Blingle specifically, with the huge warehouse. We have a 55,000 square foot warehouse We've imported a ton of lights. You've seen them. I think you've been there, and it's incredible. It's a fun time to meet everybody and meet the vendors as well that spend their time and money coming out to meet everybody.
It really is an eye-opening experience to go to any franchise's corporate headquarters, meet people. I mean, you've talked to them, you've Zoomed with them and all that sort of stuff for a period of weeks, but just to meet them in person is, it's the difference, I say, between like watching a football game and actually being there in the stadium and feeling the energy and the roar and doing this chants and all that sort of stuff. It's just a totally different experience, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Well, I am going to just put in a little thing. The reason there's so many names for this last step is Discovery Day used to be the universal term, but it was a little misleading because people made it sound like there was, a lot of discovery, a lot of new things they would learn on at a Discovery Day after weeks and weeks of, analysis and fact gathering and stuff. So there's been in general shift to call it something else like Confirmation Day, Decision Day, Meet the Team Day, or whatever. So I'm trying to be part of the Ford vanguard, the Ford group, and so I'm going to call it Meet the Team Day.
I like it.
Exact same as Discovery Day. Okay. Yeah. So Terp, what is the purpose of a Meet the Team Day or Horsepower Summit?
Yeah, I think it's to get to a hard yes or a hard no. If you don't see the process all the way through as a candidate, you always have that little bug in the back of your head or something that says, what if, should I have done this? And once you get down the line with a couple of franchisors or then just one, if you don't want to take that next step to experience that, it's not like, hey, it's not like a hard sales thing or anything. Right. It's really meeting the people and you get a good feel for the culture and you're able to get to that hard yes or hard no. And no's are just as good as yeses because if you don't think it's a fit, it's not a fit, and that's okay.
Right.
So let's work together to figure that out. You get a bigger feel for the culture. I think you do get a little bit deeper look under the hood of certain things. But most importantly, it's meeting everybody, meeting the team, the other people there that are candidates, owners that just went through training. Like there's all kinds of different cool stuff there. So
there is. I agree. And help the audience understand the perspective of a franchisor like yourself. What is it that you're looking for in a franchise candidate at a Meet the Team Day? What is it kind of?
Engagement, positivity, engagement, asking questions. And I always say validate it just because Terp says it or somebody else does.
Right.
Continue to ask the team, and you might hear some not variations in the model or anything, but here's my opinion compared to somebody else's. Mm-hmm. But hey, do these kind of match up at the end of the day? So it's be engaged, pay attention to the people, and just be positive, have fun, and don't see it as, oh, this is so tense, because it's a big decision. It really is on both sides, and it's really just being positive and listening, meeting the people, getting a feel for the culture, and taking notes and asking questions.
And one thing that we all tell our children, be yourself. They genuinely, want to see your personality. I mean, you don't have to do a stand-up comedian act, but I mean, don't be afraid to show your personality, who you are as a person, and that sort of thing, because that speaks to, culture fit and all those important things you were just talking about.
Exactly. And if you're uptight, you can't really show your personality. So
right.
It's coming in, showing, not like you said, it's not like you have to, my personality is this, or I should be on Broadway. And it's just having those good, transparent conversations with people, getting a good feel for the culture, the team, and really getting a bigger, deeper look at Blingle or any of the other brands. And I can tell you, seeing that warehouse in person is pretty incredible when you look at it. We definitely put our money where our mouth is.
There are no supply chain issues at all.
No, we're good.
Yeah. There are not thousands there are millions of lights in a warehouse on the property of Horsepower Brands. Yeah. So it really is very impressive. You have a lot of Horsepower Brands has a lot of verticals like that to support their franchisees. And I'm not going to go off on that. We had Jake on already, talked a little bit about that. So let's stick with Meet the Team Day.
Cool.
All right. So let's set the stage. So at the beginning of a franchise discovery process, Terp, a lot of people, people you don't know are saying, hey, I'm interested. I want to learn more about this. Then we advance several weeks through discovery. And does everybody get invited?
No, certainly not. And I think that we do a good job at Horsepower and at Blingle specifically, as well as that's on the front end for a director or a VP to make sure that if they don't feel like it's the right fit, they address it with the candidate. It's not just, hey, see you later, but it's having that conversation of maybe this model isn't necessarily the right fit, or maybe your timing is not right, or maybe it's just not a culture fit or a execution type fit as far as what the skill set is. So I'd say we do a great job from a development perspective. And as we go through, we're making sure that we're bringing in the best we can. No one's a wizard. I'm certainly not a wizard, but we're making sure that we're doing the best we can to vet it.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, share with the audience, Terp, what happens at a discovery day? Like, what's the agenda? What should people expect?
Yeah, so I think it's a really deep dive into the team themselves. So the Blingle team, you're going to be able to meet the type of infrastructure that's built out. So not just your franchise business coaches. Every franchisor, well, they should have business coaches, but everybody
they don't.
Yeah, everyone has business coaches. And then you meet the brand president, the VP. We have a VP of sales and ops. He's amazing, just knows everything you could know about lighting. Director of sales, director of marketing, and then everybody has a team under a couple people under them too. So the team is massive just on Blingle alone. And so that's where you spend a lot of your day for us on the summit on Friday, and you go and you check out the warehouse, you see all those things. In the morning, Josh and Zach, the founders, give some background, and we give a longer presentation on the verticals, and the verticals support the why behind that. And on Thursday, it's fun. It's a little bit more kind of hang out, but all the verticals are set up. It's like an expo. It's basically just like a trade show. It's an expo, and everybody can walk around. Have a drink. We have dinner. All of our vendors are there too.
That's amazing. I've not been to any discovery day that had that. That's really huge.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the scene, like for, example, like we have the president of Lumion come out for Blingle, or a VP at Owens Corning. It's a $7 billion company, and they're at every single one. We have lenders come out. Like it's something where they want to be here to support us too, because they know what we're doing and trust us as a partner, and vice versa. And we really like the owners and the candidates to see what that support brings, and vendor relationships and the team itself is of utmost importance.
All right. Well, Terp, help the audience understand. So after Meet the Team, how does somebody know they've been awarded a franchise or not? What does that look like?
Yes. So, and I always tell people, I'm like, hey, every discovery day you go to, if it's a solid franchisor, like if they're working with you, like it's not this huge Rolodex of different brands, hey, this is going to be pretty solid. It's going to be a good experience. Most likely. So what are you doing? And that's why you fill in on the culture, the people, how big is it, what vendors are there, et cetera. But you're going through, and our afternoon is one-on-one rotations. And the last one is typically with the brand president and then the VP or director, whoever it is. And we talk to them and say, hey, the team really likes it, but we do like to sit down and talk to everybody after the one-on-ones and just generally. And that Friday, so the Friday of Discovery Day, and we get done around like 3 Central. By like 5 p.m. we send them a note, and I'm usually pretty bad about it. I'm like, you're good. But they know that too.
Before they leave.
Yeah. Like they know that too, but it's part of that process, because we truly do. It's a team effort, and it's something where everybody's going to be working together. It's like we're getting married. So
Yes.
everybody better like each other at least a little bit.
Yeah, because
So,
you're stuck with each other for 10 years, that's for sure.
yeah, so yeah, that same day. It's the same day, probably before they get on the plane, but definitely like to huddle as a team and talk through everything and see if
Mhm,
there are issues, what are they, and then address
mhm.
those. It's not just a hey, you're not approved, but it's let's address those and understand what's going on.
Right. All right. Well, Terp, our time has just about run out. So if anybody wants to learn more about Blingle, what do you recommend they do?
Reach out to you. I think that's it's something where we work with a very small group of consultants, and you're one of them that is really familiar with Blingle, with
Mhm.
horsepower, and know what we're looking for from a fit perspective too. So it's a much smoother, more efficient process. So yeah, reach out to Anna Wilds, and hopefully one day you'll be able to talk to me and meet me.
Oh, that would be great. And I didn't know, or I forgot that you were the very first employee of the founder, Zach and Josh. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a crazy fun ride. I love it.
Well, and I love that you joined us today. Thank you. This is Terp Ricketts with Blingle, part of the Horsepower Brands portfolio. I'm Anna Wiles, the franchise economist, and join us next week when we're going to talk about what happens after you become a franchisee. We're going to talk about onboarding and training. So come back next week. Thank you, audience. Bye, Terp. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Anna.